Hello friends, welcome to my channel grammarianbhai, and today let's solve treasure chest workbook solution of class 10 with the photographer. So here I'm going to discuss the given extracts, questions and answers. And if you have not yet subscribed my channel, please subscribe it. So let's begin. So I will discuss directly from the section B, context questions. So you read the extract. The first question of extract first is, for whom does the narrator wait for an hour? Why? What does it suggests that the person for whom he has to wait? So the answer will be, the narrator waits for the photographer in his studio for an hour to get his photo clicked. The photographer seems to be a drooping man. He appears to be an ethical and uncivilized person who lacks the basic manners in dealing with his customer. Second question, what sort of magazines did the narrator read? What does it suggest about the person who has kept those magazines there? So the answer will be, the narrator read the magazines kept in the waiting room that included the old editions of the Ladies' Companion, the Girl magazines, and the Infant's Journal. It suggests that the photographer has preconceived notion or standards of beauty through such magazines that were kept in his studio. Next question, number 3. What is the unwarrantable thing that the narrator has done? How? So the answer will be, the photographer told him to sit and wait to the narrator in his studio, but when the photographer did not come back after a long wait, the narrator felt like an unwarrantable thing. He felt that he had intruded into the private space of the photographer. Next question, number 4. Why does the narrator say, with a face like mine? What does it suggest about the narrator? So the answer will be, when the photographer keeps on finding faults with the narrator's face and physical appearance, he told him with emotion and dignity to stop complaining. He told the photographer that it was his face and he had been living with it for 40 years. It suggests that narrator had self-awareness about his face and its shortcoming. He also accepts and quite satisfied with his features and his looks. Number 5. What were the man's scientific pursuits? For whom does he carry out these pursuits later in the story? So the answer will be, the photographer has been described as a natural scientist, lost in his own scientific pursuits and not interested in others or their needs. He is fully involved in carrying out experiments. The photographer carries out these pursuits later in the story for the narrator. The narrator is his customer, but he makes him wait and also does not listen to what the narrator wants. Next, extract number 2. And the first question of extract 2 is, what does the photographer want to do with the machine? Who has asked him to do that and why? So the answer will be, the photographer wants to click the photo with the machine. The narrator has come to his photo studio and asked him to get his photo clicked. He wanted to have a picture of himself that would be a true copy of himself and his friends would value after he was no more with them. Second question, why does the photographer remain inside the machine just for a second? What does it suggest about the photographer? So the answer will be, the photographer remains inside the machine just for a second to click the narrator's photo perfectly. It suggests that the photographer has his own fixed standard of beauty rather than accepting what is real. Next, question number 3. When the photographer entered into the machine for the second time, why does he remain there for a long time than before? Why does the narrator think that he was praying? The answer will be, while taking the narrator's photo, the photographer entered into the machine for the second time and remained inside the camera box for quite a long period. So the narrator thinks that he was praying because he remained inside the camera box for quite a long period, adjusting the angle of the camera and also the light. Next question, number 4. Why does the photographer look very grave? What does he say about this extract about the narrator? How does the narrator react? So the answer will be, the photographer looks very grave because he was not satisfied with the narrator's face and said that his face was quite wrong. The photographer keeps on complaining about the narrator's face, head, ears, and other features. The narrator tells him with emotion and dignity to stop complaining. He speaks harshly that it is his face and he has been living with it for 40 years and gets up from his seat. Next, number 5. What do you think about the photographer from his activities in this extract? Give reasons to support your answers. So the answer will be, I think the photographer lacks professionalism, ethics, as it is indicated by his unpleasant and humiliating treatment of the narrator, his customer. The moment he enters his studio, he is not giving importance to him and makes him wait for an hour. He also lacks the basic manners in dealing with his customers. Next, extract number 3, and the first question is, to whom does the narrator say stop? What does he ask him to stop? In what mood is the narrator in this extract? So the answer will be, to the photographer, the narrator says to stop. The narrator asks him to stop complaining about his physical appearance. The narrator is in emotion and he speaks harshly with the photographer. Second one, what does the narrator say about his face? What does he mean by saying that he knows its fault? So the answer will be, the narrator says to the photographer that it was his face and he had been living with it for 40 years. He means that he is aware of his face and its shortcomings. He also accepts his physical appearance and his features as it is. Next, question number 3. Why does the narrator feel a break in his voice? But then, how does he go about it? So the answer will be, the narrator says harshly to the photographer that it was his face and he had been living with it for 40 years. He told him with emotion and dignity to stop complaining. Next question, number 4. What does the narrator mean by saying that he has learned to love it? What does it suggest about the narrator? So the answer will be, the narrator means that he knows about the faults of his physical appearance and he has been living with it. He accepts his features and his looks as it is. He has the self-awareness and acceptance of himself as he is, and he has learned to live with it and even loves it without any complaint to it. Next question, number 5. The narrator asks the photographer if his machine is too narrow. What does he mean when he says so? Do you agree with his point of view? So the answer will be, the narrator says that the photographer's machine is too narrow. It means that the photographer's attitude towards the physical appearance of the narrator. Since the photographer kept on complaining about the features and his looks, he does not accept the physical appearance of the narrator. Yes, I do agree with his point of view because each and every individual is different and unique. God has created everyone in his own way. So, we need to accept ourselves as we are. We should not be narrow-minded like the photographer. Next extract, number 4. And the first question is, whom does the narrator interrupt and why? So the answer will be, the narrator interrupts the photographer because the photographer keeps on complaining about his physical features and his looks. He does not do his work of clicking of photos but finding faults with him. Second question, why does the narrator speak to him with a withering scorn? In what mood was the narrator in this extract? So the answer will be, the narrator speaks to him with a withering scorn because the photographer kept on complaining about the narrator's physical appearance and his looks. The narrator was in angry mood in this extract. Next question, number 3. What kind of photograph does the narrator wish to have? Was it up to his expectation? So the answer will be, narrator wishes to have the photograph as he is. The photograph should depict his face as it is without any alteration, so that his friends could recognize and keep it with them. No, it was not up to his expectation. He himself was not able to make out his photograph. The photo was not matching to his real self. It was altered, an artificial image of him. Next, number 4. Why does the narrator describe his face as humble gift? What does it suggest about the narrator? So the answer will be, the narrator describes his face as humble gift because he accepts his physical appearance as it is. There is no complaint over it. He is born with such a features. He knows it and he has been living with same face for 40 years. Hence he accepts it as a gift given to it and loves it. It suggests that the narrator is a happy man. He has no complaint about his features and looks. Rather, he accepts them as it is. He has self-awareness and self-acceptance of himself. Last question. Give a characteristic sketch of the narrator. So you can write your own answer or you can write the following answer. So the answer will be, the narrator of the story was a 40 years old man. He wanted to get his photo clicked, a photo that would look exactly like him. He wanted to have a picture of himself as he is. He was happy with his features and his looks. He had self-awareness and self-acceptance of his shortcomings and his looks. He was also a calm and composed man. He had control over his temper too. And if you think the video is helpful to you, please subscribe the channel and like the video.